Hello and welcome, fellow gamers. Today we are doing the most intriguing, most unique thing that you can watch on the YouTube. First of all, Blizzard came up. Blizzard announced the rules for the hardcore series, the official series, and the PTR will start tomorrow. So I decided we need to go and see some news, not just read it. And we found the guy who invited few Blizzard designers who talked about the hardcore, right? Who talked about how it will be, the rules, all the questions. It's a long video, so take your tea, take your beer, take your, some food, and let's chill and lunch. And I decided to not just to do it by myself. It's boring. I decided to go and watch the reaction of Sarui, right? The name of the guy is Sarui. This is the guy. Subscribe. He have a really good and interesting content about the World of Warcraft and other games. So I decided to watch how he react to this video. So it will be like we together. Let's go. The perfect and unique option on YouTube how we can do it.
Instance lockout will be interesting too. All of this will be interesting.
Official hardcore realms have just been announced on the PTR. They will be coming tomorrow. But before that, I want to break down what we should be able to experience and what Blizzard's philosophy was looking like moving forward into the hardcore realms. Luckily, today we'll be joined by two of Blizzard's very own developers. Anna Resendez, the lead software engineer, and Tim Jones, the senior technical designer. Both of whom had a massive role in us actually being able to experience hardcore on a Blizzard official capacity. So today, they're here to answer as many questions as they can regarding the hardcore realms and what we have to see in the future. We're going to get into things like dungeon lockouts. Can we bubble hearth? Can we use Flask of Petrification? And will there be world buffs? Everything you can think of should be answered here today. Thank you guys for being here, and let's get right to it.
I'm Anna Resendez. I am lead software engineer for the World of Warcraft Classic team, and I'm super excited to talk today about Hardcore Classic.
Hardcore, baby.
I'm Tim Jones. I'm the senior technical designer on the World of Warcraft Classic team, and I'm also excited to talk to you guys about hardcore.
I love it.
We're sitting here like three of us, and also two these guys like we are talking on some Zoom call or whatever.
That we can finally see the official
some
guy. That's the first time. That looks awesome. I'm so stoked. Thank you guys for joining me today. My name is Sarth. As anyone watching this probably knows, I am a enjoyer of WoW Classic. So I'm really excited to get to talk to you guys. Tim, it's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
To talk to you about Old War. Yeah. So I'm really excited, and Anna, really nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Thanks for being here today. Let's get into it. The hardcore community, as you guys know, has been really adamant about the whole solo self-found thing. It's been
makes it way more
community-driven thing. And I know Blizzard isn't usually of the mindset to add.
Do you come here often?
Do you come here often? Yeah, guys, please subscribe and like the video. I need money for the YouTube Premium.
To the way people play the game. Is there anything that you guys are planning to implement for solo self-found? Maybe something like a Soul of Iron, like a buff on a personal character that doesn't end up doing as many trading. I guess we haven't even asked if there's going to be trading, and you haven't officially said if there's going to be trading or auction house or anything like that.
Yeah, well, the main plan for hardcore is, very simple. You have one life, but then if you die, however you die, that's done, right? There's not gonna be, we're gonna block the restrictions to resurrect, use Ankh, or any other weird items that could get you back to life. All of that is gonna be restricted. So that's basically the base. That said, we're not gonna be restricting trading or mail or anything of those. We believe that, a big part of why it is very different in the boosting that currently have
the boosting, the RMT, and everything.
Not everyone there is actually in the challenge, right? There's some people that have had that like started since the beginning of Classic 2019, and they still have their characters there, and they're just like coming back, maybe just to raid or to do other activities, but they didn't participate in the hardcore challenge. And there's also the people that came from Season of Mastery that might also be in this server. So it kind of like creates kind of an unfair trading ecosystem with already a established gold and economy and everything. So we understand why a lot of the restrictions are there, right?
Yeah.
That said, we're really looking forward to see how that happens in our servers, in the official servers, where everybody that is in those servers are participating in the challenge. So we don't want to go out with like any kind of extra restrictions. That said, if players choose to, you know,
I knew it.
I
knew they were gonna say that.
The specific rules that they want to go into that are added, they're more than welcome to do that.
Right, yeah.
But we're not gonna have any restrictions. And we currently don't have any plans of like what you're saying of like maybe we can have an extra note of like, hey, you did this in the extra mega hard mode, you know?
So as I understand that, we'll have trade, we'll have mail, everything, which is, I think, personally good. Like without trading, without all this stuff, like now the profession could be like just normal classic World of Warcraft, right? So you can play with your friend, not in the party, but just play in the one time, and you can trade and you can do the stuff, which is the big part of the immersiveness of the MMORPG, right? The thing is, if you want to scam, let's call it like that, right? The boost character or buy gold or whatever, you can do it. So why should you go on hardcore server? I mean, people will do that, so it's bad, right? But if you don't want to do that, don't do that. The best thing about hardcore, it's not the high level and that game, is the process. So I don't care. Okay, trade, whatever. I like it.
But yeah. I mean, we're listening and we are always welcome for feedback, and like we can like see how the PTR goes and like
yeah, that's good that they're listening.
Have,
that's
like,
really
more
good.
Discussions, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I think a lot of players want that probably. Yeah, it might be good.
I think you mentioned like, would we be incorporating like maybe a Soul of Iron style?
Can you see that? Bliss sucks. Just donated $5. Bliss misses every $1 million layup tossed to them. It's actually impressive.
Mechanic in hardcore, and the plan is to incorporate the Soul of Iron as it was in Season of Mastery into hardcore. It's largely just a cosmetic tracking of whether you have died or not, which everyone will know whether you've died on an official hardcore. So that point is kind of moot, but it does like have a cosmetic tracker of what end of which end raid tier boss that you've killed. And like Anna said,
that's kind of cool.
If the
it's like an achievement tracker.
The add-on already does an incredible job of tracking these accomplishments that people have while leveling, fighting super hard quest content at relevant levels, or completing dungeons at relevant levels, or other types of challenges. If there is a desire from the community for that to be represented in sort of the same way that Soul of Iron does, then we'll listen to that feedback.
I think a lot of people would
incorporate
challenges is good. Challenges are really good. Everybody playing the hardcore for that, right?
That's really exciting, because hearing that.
I used to work 9 to 5.
Please subscribe and like the video. I need money for the
every day.
Premium.
You guys are open to the idea of, if the community has a very strong feedback on something like that, I think is really exciting to see that you're like willing to work on things.
Soon.
On that note, right now, including like restrictions, we talked about not really having too many with things like the trading. There is a current within the add-on and within the community built-in restriction for one dungeon, and only being able to do that dungeon once. It kind of gives the aspect of, if an item dropped on that run on that character, you get really excited. It's the blessed run. Does Blizzard have any plans on implementing any sort of dungeon restrictions or lockout restrictions for the hardcore realms?
They're not going to lock it.
We're going to have the restriction of you will only be able to do one dungeon per day. It's a bit different than the add-on restrictions, but it's gonna basically work like a heroic where you can only do
That's good.
one,
I thought of that, man.
That's
one time.
good.
I love you,
And then,
Blizzard.
Like-
I love you, Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean,
and that restriction is gonna be lifted by the.
I mean, that's really good. Like, I don't like the artificial limits. Like, you can't use trade because people will scam, right? It's bad. You need to figure out how to use the trade, but figure out how to ban the scammers, etc. But about the dungeons, it's like I like to play as a tank, right? I like to play as a tank. I want to go in the as a healer. I want to go to the dungeon every day, not like non-stop farming stuff, but once a day. It's for one dungeon or for every. Anyway, like it's really good. I like it.
The time you get to the level 60.
Right,
So
yeah.
you are able
At 60, you can
know,
spam
go
dungeons.
and
Right.
Dungeons.
That's
and
a
get the gear
massive
and all the
W.
things that you
That's
This
good.
type of restriction sort of it mostly serves the case of we really want to emphasize being out in the world and doing questing content and experiencing other players, like running into other players in the outdoor world. And we don't want like dungeon cleave or spell cleave to be
Yes.
the primary way that people feel obligated to level up.
Yeah.
And so we really feel like that the 24-hour lockout timer on dungeons will help facilitate that. And like
It's
we
like
said before, if people want to
for each
impose
dungeon,
extra
24 hours.
restrictions on themselves, we're 100% in support of the modding community for hardcore doing that. But at this time, we don't have a plan of making it so that you can only do one dungeon for the entirety of your level up process.
Yeah, I think that'll work out really well.
Monastery will work.
People that play the game all the time are gonna out level the dungeons no matter what, and then people that are playing very casually will be able to go back and run it again.
Yeah,
it's
just
be
a win.
really
It's just a win.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, like Anna said, there is no such restriction for level 60 players. Level 60 players,
which is also really good because it's the end game, right?
If you're a druid and you gotta farm Nomergon, then go for it, man.
Then you have to do it.
True.
Does that mean
For Nomergon.
inherently within the game systems will there be issues grouping with level 60 players? I know that's currently within the system of hardcore, but would that mean there's any sort of restrictions going on there?
You're absolutely right. Players who are not level 60 will not be able to get into the same dungeons as level 60 players. So it'll prevent max level characters from boosting people through dungeons.
That's really good.
So yeah, it's about boosting, right? It's the thing when you have the mage level 40 or wherever, and he's just boosting people in this dungeon, which is in Kalimdor, right? You can't do that. I mean, 40, it's possible, as I understand, but on the level 60, you can't do that, which is really good. Okay.
That's really good.
And there will be the same sort of XP penalty system that existed in Season of Mastery and Wrath Classic, where if there's too big of a differential between the lowest level person and a higher level person in a group,
that's good.
Sub 60, then XP will be nerfed to encourage players of a similar level.
It's simple and
really good.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Really good.
To take on
as
those
this guy said, right?
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
think that was very well received, getting rid of the boosting. So that'll be really nice.
59 boosts.
Without the restrictions then, and without the boosting, we're gonna see everybody mostly level in the open world.
Yeah.
There is a hot topic around players right now around using things like world buffs in the open world and getting world buffs.
They're not going to do anything
And
about world
are there
buffs.
any changes or plans to change world buffs and how they interact with players at all within the hardcore realms?
There's no plans on changing how world buffs behave.
Okay.
In fact, you'll be able to get the Chrono Boon Displacer on hardcore realms. I think we've learned some lessons from Season of Mastery and not having world buffs. And yes, they make your character incredibly powerful, but at the end of the day, they're one of the biggest social. They're an incredibly fun social event to gather up for, especially in hardcore. And
I'm just gonna quickly mute. I'll go back to it in a sec, but I gotta say I'm more of an anti-world buff person. But if I don't want world buffs, I just don't get them, and that's fine. I think this is a fine. I don't think this is a big L. I think it's what we expected, and it's fine.
Listen to this guy. Yep.
If you want to get world buffs, get them. If you don't, whatever. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's
you
like
feel that it is
now I will mute it. You're playing hardcore. You're playing by the rules, right? Like if you don't want to go to get the world buffs, it's not about how fast you do the raiding. It's about the journey, right? In hardcore. So who cares?
is exciting to be able to get Rallying Cry of the Dragon Slayer and then be like, I can go do Barons. I can level up really fast now. And it's also going to be interesting on a fresh server where no one's at max level. No one's going to be dropping these buffs at the start. And it will be a special event towards the beginning when these buffs start dropping. So I think we want to maintain sort of how unique the social gathering is for world buffs, even in hardcore.
We are though gonna be removing the debuff limit and the buff limit.
That's huge.
I like that. Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to have as many buffs as your heart desires.
I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's fine.
It felt really bad in Classic having classes that just couldn't use your abilities because it didn't do enough for other abilities. It would like take.
It's about the rating. Like in Classic WoW sometimes I don't remember the exact classes, but like it was you do not do this buff because you will delete the most valuable one, and it's like stupid. If we have these buffs, why do you not use them? So that's good.
Over deep wounds and stuff. So that's amazing.
Cool. That's
I think
really cool.
all like hunters and druids everywhere are gonna be really happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Warlocks casting dots in a raid?
What's
happening here?
You actually get to use your abilities. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be hopefully very, very well received.
Yeah, definitely.
With the social aspects, like the world buffs, getting the first ones is going to be one of the most exciting things on the realm.
Yeah.
But that the social aspect of hardcore also leads itself to griefing. And I know a lot of people are encouraged to play the game their own way, but Blizzard has been cracking down on griefing as much as possible lately.
It's a big one.
So could you give us a little insight into how you plan to deal with griefing or kind of try to prevent it so that someone that's been leveling for like the last month doesn't just get deleted for something they couldn't avoid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna talk about like specifically what we're gonna be doing for PvP.
Okay.
Because PvP, other players sometimes are the main culprits that are of this kind of behavior, right? So, for example, we have been looking at different situations that have arisen, like for example, people right-clicking on a flight master and then like, oh, there was a rogue there, surprise, now you're flagged.
Happened to me.
So the main thing is that we want to make that PvP interactions are 100% like something that the player wanted to engage on.
Exactly.
So the first thing is like servers are gonna be PvE only, and the second part is that really the only way that we want you to get flagged for PvP is by you typing flag to PvP.
Okay, /PvP,
right? Like, we don't
right?
want any like right-clicking into stealth characters or any of those behaviors.
It's fair.
We're
it's
really
simple.
going around and
it's
looking
like,
and trying to fix all of those.
That was my idea.
Something that the player actually has
Let's
to
go
and ask for it. So I would encourage also for anyone that goes into the PTR, if you see some behavior that happened that is like, hey, I got flagged for PvP and I wasn't looking for it, let us know also, so we can also go in and add certain behaviors there. So that's one of the biggest ones that now we're looking into. Kind of like PvP, it's because you want to. And
yes, exactly.
But we also want to encourage it for the people that are looking for that. So like I don't know if you have heard about like the dual.
I need to find the best way to learn math and science.
Subscribe, please.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
To the dead, that it's coming up, that it's gonna be a very like conscious, a special kind of duel. You still can duel if you want like regular duels, but if you want to do one of these, it's gonna be with a very explicit, I'm here because I want to kill you,
Right, yeah.
And like something really cool is like if you get to kill to defeat an opponent, you're gonna start getting a cosmetic buff, basically saying like how many people you have killed by like maybe an ear icon, maybe a reference to other games,
Okay, this is really sick and awesome. Like people will do that because only of this number, how many you killed in the hardcore server. It's really good.
Sick.
So it's something that is coming
That's
up, but
cool.
we want it to be something that is like very.
I mean, it's a type of content that we can do. Like we will try hardcore, right? We will try all this stuff, but then you can just like, okay, now I'm PvP, and like the most exciting things, how many people you kill in the fair PvP, which is the duel to the death. Cool.
Conscious. Same with battlegrounds. Queuing for random battlegrounds is not going to be allowed.
Right.
It's going to be disabled. But if you still want to play against other players in Warzone and kind of have like a bloodbath in Warzone, go ahead, go do it. But you're going to have to do it via war game. So you're going to have to find the group and duel them basically and get into the.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
We have
That
also
could
had
be really
other,
interesting. All
areas.
this hardcore PvP, it will be not working from the beginning because everybody will play, the server grind. But when everybody became boring, like in months or two, the hardcore PvP will be, it will be the star of the content.
Where we have like tried.
I see people typing L in the chat. You might not understand. If battlegrounds were enabled, everyone would just spam AFK out and it would be unplayable and it would be absolute trash.
Yep.
Disabling battlegrounds is 100% the right move here, and having a system where players can do war games is also awesome. This is fine. This is totally fine.
To reduce the griefing, like Tim can talk to you a little bit about, for example, kiting mobs and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So like we all have seen the video of Taramis being kited from blasted lands to unsuspecting adventurers in Elwyn. And while that might be funny to watch as an observer, it's miserable as the actual person getting killed. So creatures will sort of respect zone boundaries, and we're building a system to prevent creatures from being able to be kited outside of blasted lands if that's the creature's zone of
I literally
spawning.
said that.
So that will be something that we're doing. I know Anna briefly touched on we're looking at quests one by one to see like was this a quest that flagged people for PvP unintentionally. We're preventing that from being able to happen. Even quests where, like escort quests in particular, have been sort of targets for interference, and we're changing the faction templates on those creatures that are the escortee, so that they can't be pulled out of combat to screw with that person's experience doing that quest.
Cool.
Might ruin the fun for someone out there, but I think we're preserving
it's a massive W.
The leveling experience. It's better for that person actually trying to do the quest in that circumstance. So
yeah, you mentioned there's some quests. You mentioned quests that have been notorious to get grief, like in Westfall, the Defias Messenger's already been fixed. But there are some quests where there's things that you can't really do, like inside of Blackrock Mountain, the quest for like getting a key, or like potentially the Vadir Elixir quest for the Link quest, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any plans on adjusting those so they're possible to get done by players doing or playing on this realm, really?
100%. Those quests are already fixed so that they're doable on hardcore without dying.
Cool.
Specifically,
I was not expecting that.
The Vadir Elixir quest for the
Yeah, I think this is the boring part. PvP quest gone. This is really good. W, like, you can fix them, so just skip them. Let's talk about this one.
Raw potential system where you could also have like a cosmetic on your character showcasing your wins.
Yeah.
I know the community has expressed like any
PvP
interest in
for the
potentially looting the person you've defeated or anything like that. But seeing any sort of cosmetic, I think, is amazing. So the Makra is a very standard system where everyone has to opt into it, but you will still be able to normally duel, and you will get this cosmetic for as many wins as you get, right?
Yeah, only on the duel to the death. Like if you do a regular duel, we're not gonna be counting those. Those are the real ones.
Whatever, bro.
But this one's it's kind of like a hint of like, hey, look, I'm a very, very like really good opponent. So that said, though, there's gonna be certain restrictions of like levels, because of course we believe that like in order for you to get a token, it should be like a fair match, right? And
True,
not
true.
like,
That's a good
oh,
point.
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna be
So it
dueling
will be
people that
like
are level
you
1,
willing
know,
to
kind of
do
like
I
it
those
forgot
with
kind of
about that. Yeah,
restrictions.
it's a
So
and
really
we're
all the
adding some
consequences, right?
restrictions,
You know
level
everything.
wise, so
That's good.
it's a fair opponent that you're competing
Fair.
against. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something I'm like
Cool
super
mechanic.
excited. Like I'm just excited to like when people get to like do their first tournament with Duel with the Dead, I'm gonna be like watching there with like
Yep.
eating popcorn and see like how it
Yeah.
goes. Really
That's
excited.
those tournaments. There's a lot of plans in the works for doing tournaments.
Nice.
That'll be
for
fun. That'll be
those.
fun, man.
And you mentioned the PTR, and now everyone should know about PTR. Are there gonna be level restrictions on PTR held for tournaments at all, or is everything gonna be available? And what are you guys looking out
Good question.
for anyone that's playing the PTR to report to you to help enhance the experience of the live realms?
Good question.
Overall, like the main things that we are
30.
looking
Yeah,
forward
that's what we thought.
for players are really gonna be especially on the looks of us. If there's any other new kind of griefing mechanics that you are finding, like like we already talked about this quest, but if there's like a quest that we missed, or if there's also a different like way of like you got flagged for PvP, so those kind of behaviors or like kind of like unfair deaths, because we are also adding certain
They will
mechanics
try
to
to catch
minimize
as many
what we
bugs, as
deem
many
as like unfair deaths. Like for
you know,
example,
things
disconnecting
as
mid-flight
possible.
and then like you just die, like fall to your death, right?
Yeah.
So we're adding
Yeah.
some mechanics there to kind of like minimize those kind of things. So if there's certain behaviors like that, please let us know. That said, there's no plans. For example, if the whole servers go down and there's like certain
Scary.
situation like that, we also want players and everybody that wants to join this challenge to also kind of recognize that this is a risk they're willing to take, right? Like getting into hardcore comes with risks. You might die to another player, you might die to the environment, but there's also some things that might be out of our control that also are out of our Blizzard control that we're not gonna be able to bring back. So really, just keep an extra eye on that and like but let us know if it's something that like.
So what she's telling us, it will be no appeals, right? I already see it here. Yeah, no appeals, because like it will be just so much headache and disaster if everybody will have chance to appeal. It's like hardcore. Deal with it. You died because of disconnect. Fuck your life, right?
We can potentially.
So that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
And since you mentioned that and unfair deaths, and it seems like you're doing everything you can to minimize that, does that mean that there is going to be zero appeal system within the game? If anyone dies, they're just like, you've lost it. We're not rolling back anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's correct. I mean,
I'm fine with that.
We're trying to be as proactive as possible.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, it will be some cases when it will be fucked up, right? But overall, it will like, I mean, it's more simple. If you die, you die. No appeals, nothing. Fair enough.
To create systems like preventing creatures from being kited throughout zones. We mentioned that earlier. And the flight disconnect, like if you ever dismounted from a taxi, the game will check whether or not you're in a situation where you would fall to your death, and if you would, then it will attempt to teleport you to the flight master that you started the flight path on.
Sweet, yeah.
And if it can't do that, then it'll try to teleport you to the nearest graveyard. So you're correct. There's going to be no appeals process, but
that's fine. That's good.
We're going to try to prevent those unfortunate, uncontrollable deaths.
That's okay.
Proactively.
That's okay.
With
it's more
the unfortunate deaths
to
kind
the
of
mind.
being mitigated, I know a lot of the community has been seeing some raids happening lately where guilds or raids have been using petrification flasks or bubble hearts. And there's
hot topic.
Some restrictions on the current hardcore like community, but is there going to be any restrictions for anything like that on the actual hardcore realm?
Yes.
Do you want to cover this, Anna? Or?
Yeah, I can go on there. You can talk about the petrific.
No way!
Sure.
Flask. Sorry, my tongue. Anyways, but there's gonna be certain class restrictions. So, for example, Ankh, of course, it's out of the question.
Right.
But also Bubble Heart, as known to the community, it's also gonna be disabled. Like we're not gonna allow players to kind of like use
You need to listen to this urgently because there is a new generation of
Yeah, you need to listen to this urgently. Please subscribe.
For dudes and
their mechanics in that kind of way.
You can't bubble her.
Yep, those are gonna be out of the question. We have done a very like big conversation about the petrification flask, and I can give you more about like the logic that we have behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I think, this is a brand new environment for players. The economy is going to be fresh.
Right.
And on Era Realms, you have people who've been playing since 2019. You have people who were playing in Season of Mastery who have transferred, and there's less regulation, I think, in the hardcore community of resources being traded between each other. So that might be one reason why petrification flasks are so plentiful at the highest level right now, and we're going to be actively monitoring this and obviously listening to player feedback. But I think having very powerful tools, especially at the highest level when you've put so much time into your character, if you've saved up the resources and crafted a very powerful item that is relatively rare. I mean, Black Lotus will still be very hard to find. Then it's okay for you to have those types of tools. That's sort of the flavor of Classic, to have these sort of not oddball, but like they're very unique tools and consumables that you
will
have.
Stay.
So yeah, to start off, there's going to be no changes to Petrification Flask or the leave party teleport out of dungeon.
Okay, wait. So there isn't. So it's a big L. Oh, she literally. I thought. Oh, maybe I misunderstood. I thought she literally said they aren't going to be in, and then he just said they are. Okay, so Petri is going to remain in. To me, that's an L. But it's not the end of the world. It's not that big of an L. Really, it's not. It's fine. It's just. I think it would be better if they removed it or changed to the teleportation mechanic. I must have misunderstood what she said. I thought they were taking it out, but it's going to stay in. So Petri's in.
Yeah, from my side as well. Like, he's right. The team, right? The game designer. He's right. Like, if you're doing it by the profession, like this is really hard to get many resources. It's kind of lore, right? You get this flask and you can use it, which is okay. Like, you can use it and you will be invisible for 1 minute or whatever. The bad thing about the mechanic, when you drop from the party and you automatically teleport it to other place in 1 minute, this is stupid. Like, it's the lore mixed with the like mixed mechanic of the game. In that case, you need to find out the way why. Like, it's like petrification. You are maybe an aggro and invisible for 1 minute or something like that. But as Xar said, whatever. Like, it's not a big L
mechanic, but we'll monitor that situation. We're just interested to see what the use case of Petrification Flask will be in a server with a brand new untainted
That's a fair
economy.
point. It's a fair
Absolutely.
point. It's
thank
a fair
you very
point.
much. And I've just got 2 questions left for you guys because I know your time is really valuable. So thank you. There is currently within the add-on itself, one of the favorite things most people like is obviously the announcement system and seeing how people die or like their last words. Do you have any plans on implementing that, or would you encourage people to maybe keep the add-on for something like that?
I think the add-on's fine for that.
We are implementing some announcements for sure.
Cool.
Yes. So
big W.
So guild chat. Whenever someone dies, if they're in your guild, you're gonna be notified about it, and then whenever someone gets to level 60, it's gonna be announced on the server.
Oh, sick!
That's
cool.
awesome.
There's gonna be some
That's cool.
Yeah,
because it's like challenge end and then beginning of the end game.
Conversation of like, okay, do we really want to be like talking to everyone about like, hey, this person died in the full server when they're level 2 died, Anna died again at level 3, and then it's like, okay, sorry. So definitely there's gonna be like, for that is gonna be more around the guild, and then for like getting to level 60 is like a super big feature that we
Right,
want everybody
right.
to know about, right? And celebrate it.
With
Cool.
that, because that leads perfectly, because that's a really exciting thing that you guys are adding. Is there anything else flavorful or exciting either of you two have specifically worked on, or either of you two are specifically excited about for the hardcore realms
Good question.
that you
Good
think
question.
people should like keep their eyes on?
I know. I'm just.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead,
thinking
Anna.
because for me, my favorite is really the Duel to the Death and all like those like
Yeah,
little things, and we
she
already
liked
talked
it,
about it.
and
So I'm just like, I'm just so
obviously it's
excited
a really
about
cool
it.
stuff.
But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'm just really, really excited about hardcore and like just see how like come in the official servers and even in PTR, like just to go see that. Like, oh, the other thing too is that if you die, you become a ghost and you can still go back to the world as a
Yeah,
ghost.
that's cool. That's
So
cool.
that's the second thing I know that I think about it. That's another thing I'm
Okay.
excited about is just see like, will people actually stay as ghosts and maybe create ghost community? Maybe there'll be
That's
like a
kinda
guild that
cool.
is full of ghosts or something and just roam around. I don't know. Maybe
That's kinda
some
cool.
RPs with
That's
like the
kinda
little
cool, yeah.
dots of the night elves just following each other. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, maybe people will just be like, okay, I'm gonna go transfer to the era servers and
Right.
continue my journey there if that's
Oh, can
what
you
they
do
want.
that? I didn't know you
But
could do
like
that.
really excited to see if
Yeah,
there's
it is
gonna
in
be any
the
ghost
it's
communities. Maybe
like in the announcement.
know.
Yep.
I think I'm like, for me,
Money? Yeah,
know,
true.
a lot of what I've worked on for hardcore is revolved around just improving the quality of life of quest content, making sure people don't get flagged unintentionally, and so just seeing people have
So they just
a good
polished
time
the game for the
that is
hardcore, right?
Good
uninterrupted,
answer.
and not being sort of negatively impacted by people wanting to ruin their experience. I think that'll be the greatest success for me to see. I'm also just excited to play. Like
I like
the
when
community in
developers
hardcore
are
is so
excited to play
supportive
the game.
and fun to be around,
You
even
can
if
see it from his eyes.
failure
right?
is imminent. it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Tim. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to share all this information and for putting like, it's so exciting to see when like the people working on the game love to play it and are excited to do like get to experience what they've been working on. So thank you guys so much for taking.
La joya es el motor y por eso queríamos volver a hablar de la importancia que tiene en un coche como.
We need the premium YouTube here on this channel, please. Second ad. Okay, this is Wayfinder. We will play this game as well.
Thank you, Sarth. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, really nice meeting you.
Really, really nice to meet you. I'll see you at BlizzCon, hopefully.
Heck yeah.
All right, so that's
really,
awesome.
It was really nice. It was really nice people. It were really nice people. I like developers.
Okay, we got
I'm
everything that we wanted to know answered. I think, did I miss anything? I think we got everything answered. So just to recap, first, I think there's some news on the Battle.net launcher. There's a lot of good things they announced. I'm flattered they took a lot of my ideas that we talked about in the podcast as well. That is awesome. Let me see if it's in the launcher. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, it is in the launcher.
Oh, you linked it for me. Yeah, thanks, chat. Yeah, you guys linked it for me. Let me pull this up before we start talking. Okay, cool. Here it is. All right, so here's the notes. Cool. The biggest L, we'll start there first. I think the biggest L so far with all of this, I'm gonna turn this music down just a tad. Let's have it in the background. Okay, so the biggest L that I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest L is that you can trade at level 1. That's the only thing that I feel passionately about that is probably a mistake. I think trading at level 20 would even be better than trading at level 1. That's actually
a cool idea.
I think trading at level 30 would be better.
But
40, 50, 60,
you will
whatever
avoid
it is.
all
But
this
level
scam.
1 trading, I think, is a big L. Right? Because you can make an alt and just give them 100 gold. You can make an alt and just trade a bunch of bags. You can make an alt and do this and that. Right when the servers are fresh, you won't be able to do that, which is fine. But as the servers mature, if you can trade at 1, that's a bad thing, in my opinion. Bad. Very bad. That's the only thing. Other than that, I think they did a lot of great things. You can group in the world. Dungeon lockouts are 24-hour, which was so cool.
Wait. You can group in the world. he said that, right? Because I didn't get it. If it is, this is really good. Because, like, for instance, I have a friend. We didn't start together, but we want to play time to time. This is big W for me.
They added that, man. I said that in the podcast the other day. So cool they added the 24-hour dungeon lockout. Not being able to bubble hearth or incarn is awesome. I wonder how they're going to restrict bubble hearth. Maybe if you're bubbled, you just can't use the hearthstone. Them fixing some of these quests are really good. Buff and debuff limit removed is really good.
Yep.
Level 60 players, no dungeon limit is really good. No changes to world buffs makes sense, despite it not being my preference. I think it's totally fine. No changes to Petri Flask is also an L, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Petri Flask. I think it's going to be only a little L, not a massive L, because Petris are going to be really hard to come by, and at the end of the day, it's only going to affect like the end game of the end game of the end game of the end game. It's not going to affect the game at large in terms of leveling 1 to 60. It doesn't affect pretty much most people except very, very end game players pushing Nax or whatever. So it's a little L in my opinion, but it's not that big of a deal really. I think this is all great news. I really can't be too mad about anything except the no restrictions on trading, I think, is a mistake for level 1s. I think they
it's
should
pretty simple to do,
restrictions
right?
on trading until at least like 20.
Yeah, restrict till they're level
so
20.
That those
That's
first 10, 15, 20 levels, you can't just get traded gold, bags, items, gear, blues, enchants, fireys, crusader weapons, all that kind of stuff in the later endgame stages of hardcore 6 months from now, a year from now. At the start, it won't matter because no one will have any gold. No one will have any enchants. It won't matter at the start. But I'm talking about like 6 months from now. It's going to be a massive L. Massive L. So that's the only big L. Everything else is either W's or little L's. Do we agree here, chat?
Yeah, I think I stop in this one because he will obviously discuss it with the chat. And first of all, man, thank you. This video was really interesting. And second of all, I think these rules and everything is so cool. We will play hardcore. It will be fun. All the announcement that they did was really great. I'm happy for that. So let's see what we will get. Tomorrow on PTR, I will see you. And thank you for watching this video. See you. Bye.